Chapter 6. Drumming his fingers on the table, Cameron looked up at the jingle of the bell and cup of kindness. "Hey, Stu," he called, rising. "Thanks for coming." His college buddy grinned and hugged him. "Of course. The birthday party was too chaotic for us to really have a chance to talk." They sat down across from each other in a booth. Cameron caught Annika's eye and motioned her over. "Annika, this is Stu, my best buddy from college." Stu rose and shook her hand. "I've heard a lot about you. It's nice to finally meet you." "Thank you, you too. Can I get y'all anything?" They ordered coffee for the both of them, latte for Cameron, black for Stu. Once she brought them their drinks, Cameron slid over to make room for her. The next half hour went by quickly, all laughs and entertaining stories. But things at the coffee shop went from slow to hectic in minutes. Annika began to rise, noticing the customers flooding in and Jake waving at her frantically. "Whoa, sorry guys, but I better get back to work." "It's all right," Cameron reassured. "We understand you ditching us." He winked. Giving Cameron a light shove, Annika shook Stu's hand again. "It was so nice meeting you. You're always welcome back here." "Thank you. I'm sure I'll be back." As Annika left them, Cameron couldn't help but notice how well she handled the business under pressure. She was calm but quick as she raced behind the counter and began to take people's orders. Her hair was a little disheveled and began to fall out of the braid, but somehow that made her look even prettier. "Cameron, hello," Stu teased. Cameron brought his attention back to his friend. "Sorry, I got distracted." "Yeah, I can tell." He grinned. "What's on your mind?" "Well, I was wondering, what do you think of Annika?" Cameron looked expectantly at him. Annika was busy now, and with all the people that had come in, there's no way she'd be able to hear their conversation. He decided to keep his voice down anyway. Stu shrugged lightly. "Well, she seems really nice, funny, just like you described her." He sipped his coffee. "You want my opinion because you're thinking of asking her to be your girlfriend?" Cameron's eyes widened in surprise. "Am I that readable?" He snickered. "Come on, Cam, we're like brothers." "But if you are asking for my opinion, you must be having doubts yourself." Cameron shifted in his seat. "Yeah, I guess you could say that." Stu linked his fingers together. "Well, I don't know much about her, but these kinds of situations can be dangerous, Cameron, because she's not a Christian, right?" "Well, not really. She used to be a Christian, but since her parents' murder, she's been struggling with her faith. She doesn't really trust God anymore." Stu nodded, waiting. "There's just something about her," Cameron continued. "Something special. I feel protective toward her, but not like a big brother protective. She's come to church with me once. She seems to be gaining interest and seems willing to talk about it. But who does most of the talking? Who brings it up?" Cameron looked away. "I'm not telling you this to get you down, really. I just want you to be careful. I don't want you to move too fast and then end up hurting both of you. And sadly, in these kinds of situations, usually the doubter influences the believer, not the other way around." Cameron rested his elbows on the table, giving him his full attention. "Besides, I think what Annika needs right now is just a friend. From what you've told me about her in this case, I don't think she's emotionally strong enough to date. She may seem tough as nails, but underneath she's hurting. Don't add any more strain by asking her to be something she's not ready to be. Wait for her. Be patient. Take it slow. Being her boyfriend is what you want. But if you really love her, you'll do what's best for her, what she needs, right? She does need you, Cam, but first and ultimately, she needs God." "That's so true." Cameron ran a hand through his hair and set down his drink. "And then sometimes I'm not sure how to witness to her. I don't want to talk about my faith so much that it pushes her farther away." "You don't have to talk about the Lord 24/7 to show him," Stu said. "You can be the perfect example for Christ just by your actions. Everything you are, everything you do. Your life is the example." "Right," Cameron agreed. "Okay, I'm going to wait and pray about it, see what happens." "Man, thanks. That really makes a lot of sense." "Well, good. I'm glad the student hasn't surpassed the master." "Whatever," Cameron laughed. Stu grinned. "Have you asked for your dad's opinion?" No, but he's been giving me his opinion whether I ask for it or not. I don't know if he's just worried about our safety or if he thinks we're on some wild goose chase with this case, but lately he seemed distant and paranoid. Or it could be something totally different. Maybe he's still upset because I tried to find my real parents." Have you tried talking to him about it? Yeah, but every time I do, we end up arguing. Cameron sighed in finalization. Can you pray for me? Of course. Stu placed a hand on his friend's shoulder and closed his eyes, lowering his head in submission. Heavenly Father, I ask you to bless Cameron with wisdom and patience. Help Dr. Baines to understand where he's coming from and help Cameron do the same for him. Please keep Cameron's heart, his feelings for Annika at bay. Let his light shine for you to her and anyone else he meets. Whatever needs to happen for her to accept you back into her life, please do it. The following week, seeing Cameron at his usual booth at the coffee shop, Annika approached him. He must have stopped here during his lunch break for a blueberry muffin. Good afternoon, sir. May I get you a refill? Well, you most certainly may. Thank you, ma'am. She stopped as she took note of all the empty sugar packets and creamers on the table. What? He asked, mock defensively. She snorted, laughed. You want some coffee with your sugar, Dr. Baines? I thought a pediatrician would be more health conscious. Hey, I gotta live a little. She shook her head. Can I get you anything else? Some more sugar? Laughing out loud, Annika nodded and turned to fill his request, but bumped into Jake. Oh, sorry, boss, he said. I just wanted to thank you again for the money. Me and Layla had a really good time at dinner. That's awesome, Jake, she replied. I'm glad. Yeah, thanks again. You're the best. No problem, it wasn't that big of a deal. He patted her shoulder. It was to us. Annika smiled as Jake practically skipped to the customer at another table. Turning, she explained to Cameron. I gave him some money to take his girlfriend out for dinner. I wanted to repay him for doing so well painting here. Her gaze bounced along the room. And that was sweet of you. Well, I'm just learning from the best. Leaving him with that comment, she walked around the counter and began to fill Cameron's cup. She had to admit things were going well, better than they had in a long time. Whenever Cameron was around, life just seemed easier and brighter to her, like she could do anything she set her mind to. Ow! Hot coffee spilled over the cup and splashed onto her knuckles. Grimacing, she reached for the faucet, putting her hand under cool water. She smiled at herself for her sudden and brief clumsiness. Usually only certain memories of her parents or thoughts on the case would distract her that much. To her relief, no one had noticed. Distracted, miss? Crystal asked. Rolling her eyes, Annika smirked at her. Spoke too soon. Hoping the redness in her cheeks had faded, Annika rejoined Cameron, set down his cup, and a storage box full of sugar packets. Now it was his turn to laugh out loud. Annika sat back in her vehicle in the church parking lot. Was she really going to do this? It had been years since she had stepped foot inside a place of worship without someone prodding her. She fiddled with the bracelet Cameron had given her. It had become a nervous habit, one of the reasons she never took it off. Self-conscious but determined, Annika got out of the car and headed inside the church. She hadn't told Cameron she was coming, but she wanted to see him, and there was nothing else to do on a Saturday afternoon. That was one plus to this church. They started at 12:30, so it was a day of rest for them. A cute Hispanic boy, no more than 5 years old, opened the door for her. Oh, thank you, sweetie, she caught herself saying. Hey, nice to see you again. Annika, right? The first elder, she thought, greeted her. Genuine pleasant surprise was embedded in his tone. And he pronounced her name right. Annika smiled, returning his side hug. Yes, thank you. I'm glad to be here. That was another reason she felt drawn to come today. The people here were so welcoming, carried a peace with them she yearned for. Entering the sanctuary, she looked for Cameron, still feeling out of place, needing his presence. Look for kids. Bingo, she found him, being chased by a crowd of little girls and boys. The kids, holding hands, formed a makeshift train, and they wrecked into him, laughing and squealing all the way to the floor. Cameron's eyes sparked as he met her gaze. Hey, I didn't know you were coming today. Guys, say hi to Annika. All obeyed, some enthusiastic, others more shy. Annika waved back, feeling a little shy herself. No, just the one time, guys. I gotta get up. He rose, the children sliding off him. He was a natural with kids, authoritative when he had to be, but loving and playful too. Is she your girlfriend? One of the older kids asked. Annika felt her face flush, seeing a similar reaction in him. No, he said, scratching an imaginary itch in his hair. But we are best friends. Annika tried to change the subject. Looks like you've got your hands full. The little girl clamped into his leg, including every other part of me. Once he tickled her away, he enveloped Annika in an embrace. Nice surprise to see you. She relaxed now, feeling safe in his arms, feeling at home. like she belonged there. After the potluck lunch, Annika handed Cameron her styrofoam plate to be taken to the trash. The food here was great. Cameron had mentioned that every weekend, the congregation had lunch together and stayed until as late as sundown sometimes, just hanging out with each other. Cameron rejoined her at their table. You enjoy the service today? Oh, yeah, I did. I just feel a little overwhelmed. I'm not used to socializing this much with so many new faces. You want to go outside? Get away from the noise, get some fresh air? Sure, she agreed. The two took a stroll on the sidewalk that wrapped all the way around the church. In the back, there was a playground and a sport court for tennis, basketball, and volleyball. As they walked in step together, Annika couldn't get over the peace she was feeling. The parents of the children sat at picnic tables, relaxing and talking with one another as they kept an eye on their offspring. A group of teenage girls rode on skateboards in the sport court. This wasn't just a church or a community. This was family. That was something Annika needed and had wanted for so long. She had always cherished her home, her sanctuary with her parents, able to tell them anything on her heart, able to enjoy just sitting together in each other's company, watching a movie or playing a card game, having Bible studies together. How long had it been since she'd heard the Bible read, besides the 2 times she'd come to church with Cameron? She shrugged away the dismal feelings, focusing on Cameron. She was not going to ruin this day. Cameron's voice became clearer. He was half shouting to the skater girls to be heard, telling them to race. The girls laughed, and off they went, under the volleyball net and onto the finish line. Cameron cheered and whooped for the winner like she'd won the Olympics. Annika found herself laughing, clapping along with him. This was what joy felt like. Her phone buzzed, and she pulled it out of her skirt pocket to read the text. It was from one of her connections in Houston, Joe Bronson. Hey, Annika, I've got some news for you. Meet me here at work tomorrow. That's the end of chapter 6. Thanks for watching, guys.